Instacart or Shipt, maybe Amazon Flex. So there are a lot of factors that go into whether or not it's easy or difficult to make good money on the gig apps. So right now I am working 7 days a week, and it can be tiring, as any job is, for sure. And I don't know how sustainable this really will be, but for right now, that's what I'm doing, and just trying to work as much as possible and try to cut back on expenses and try to make this work in my favor until I find something that's more permanent. So if you have worked the gig apps in the past, or if you're working them now, or you're thinking about doing it, let me know. Comment below. I started, the first gig app that I started with was back in 2016. I drove for Uber. I only did rideshare because back when I started that in 2016, there wasn't Uber Eats in my state. So I could only do rideshare at the time, and I started doing that after I was downsized at the company that I worked for. So I started doing Uber, and it was good because I needed money, but it was strange having people in my car driving them places. That took a little getting used to, but I'd say for the most part I had really great experiences. People were very nice. They were very, grateful that they could get a ride somewhere. The weird thing about Uber at the time was that when you accepted a ride, you didn't know where you were taking the passenger until you picked them up at their location. So you would get, an offer to pick someone up, you'd accept it, and you would drive to the person, strange to not have a better feature like I know that they have now, even though I don't do rideshare with Uber. I just do Uber Eats. But one of my brothers does rideshare part time, or when he has time, and he knows. They've changed the app, which is great. He now, he knows where he's going to pick up and drop someone off before he accepts a ride, and it gives an estimate of how long the ride will be. So I'm glad that they changed it, because there were a few times that I drove to other states where there were airports, and one time I actually drove someone to another state and it wasn't to an airport, it was just to their home, in rush hour traffic